Welcome back to the Fans of the Home Team podcast.
I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Miranda. This is a podcast that talks about the fun, the drama, and the effects that sports teams and athletes bring to the world, whether good or bad.
This is a podcast for people who care about sports in a deeper way than who won or who lost. It's for the people who love the feel-good stories behind teams and athletes and realize that sports are more than a game.
So today's episode is a long overdue episode, and it's a get to know us, get to know Miranda and Kelsey episode.
We're mostly going to be talking about some of our favorite things, foods, superheroes, reality shows, music, nothing about trauma from our childhood or anything like that. Not this episode, maybe next time, but going to keep it light and airy today.
Yeah, we're just dipping our toes into getting to know us. More of the fun stuff.
So yeah, we're going to start off with our background, like how we met, our friendship story, etc., etc. So Miranda, take it away.
Okay, so Kelsey and I met in, what year did we start grad school?
2017.
Okay, I literally always forget. We both went to USF for grad school. We were in the Vinnick Sports and Entertainment Management program. And basically how it worked there is you're in a cute little cohort, and we took all the same classes. So your first year, you work towards your MBA, and then second year is your Master's of Science in Sports and Entertainment Management. The first year, Kelsey and I literally sat across from each other, like on opposite ends of the classroom. And the only person I knew on the first day of school was our good friend Lauren, because she worked at the Lightning when I worked at the Lightning. So me and Lauren sat on one side and Kelsey sat with our other classmates on the other side of the room. And then I think it was Valspar, right? The golf. Yes.
The golf tournament.
Yeah, we had a volunteer, which was so annoying because you had to wake up so early in the morning. And Lauren and I, like, probably the week before or something, were like, Kelsey is so funny. And we talked and stuff, but we weren't, like, friends at that point. Like, we were just classmates, acquaintances. So then Valspar was in the second half of the first year. And Kelsey and I were also in the same group for our Miami Marlins, whatever that marketing project was, which we had the best group. It was hilarious. One of the most fun projects I've ever worked on. But anyway, so Kelsey would constantly crack jokes, and we were like, Kelsey's so funny. Like, we need to be friends with her. So then Lauren told Kelsey at the Valspar tournament, because they were volunteering in the same parking lot, because that's what we did. We volunteered in the parking lot. Super educational on sports and entertainment. And then, yeah, from then on out, we just became BFFs.
Yeah, Lauren told me, she was like, Kelsey, Miranda thinks you're so funny. I was like, what's going on? But like, okay, that's fair. That's the way to make friends with me. Just tell me I'm funny. You can call me stupid, ugly, whatever you want. But if you say I'm not funny, that's the most horrible insult to me in the world. So
I think that's your fault. That sounds like a problem.
We were friends the rest of the time. It was a good time. We went to Europe.
Yeah.
Went to California.
Yeah. All the places. And then Kelsey moved to, where did you move? Michigan.
Yeah, it was stupid. Bad decision.
And the last day, our last group get together, Kelsey and I literally bawled our eyes out saying goodbye to people.
That's facts. Good point.
And yeah, now I visited her when she was in Michigan. I was just in Columbus. She's come down here a few times for all the wedding festivities. She was in my wedding. I'm going to be in her wedding. And yeah, so now we're just best friends. And we started this podcast during COVID times, which is very triggering because that was 2 years ago. Like, that's insane.
I know. I saw a post. It was like, when you're still trying to process 2019, but it's almost 2023.
I think one of the beneficial things about grad school is that you're surrounded by people who are like-minded and have similar visions and goals for their life. And Kelsey and I both have a similar one where we want to be our own business owners, be our own bosses, and make money for ourselves. So that's why we started Fans of the Home Team, and we have big goals for it.
We've always had similar goals, and they've kind of changed together since we graduated too. We both wanted to work in sports, and then we both decided that we didn't want to do that like the same time.
Yes.
And then we started this. So
Yeah, because we both love sports, and that's one of the things that obviously brought us together and what we bonded over. But I think, at least for me, and I'm still very passionate about sports, and then again, that's why I have the podcast, but I think not working in sports has made me love sports again.
When I was in Lansing, it was a minor league baseball team. I worked 80 hours a week. I would work 3 weeks straight with our home schedule. So while I worked for a baseball team, I didn't really watch the games. I was working them. And if I had time to watch, I just wanted to kind of avoid it because that's what my entire life was. So when you work in sports, you don't get to actually enjoy sports, which is a very common misconception when people go into it, is that you're just going to watch all these games and hang out with athletes. You're not going to do that. You're going to work. You're not going to see the game. You have to deal with season ticket members. If you know, you know. So it's a lot different than what people think it is. But it was fun. I obviously met a lot of great people doing it, but realized I wanted to be able to afford things and see my family. So decided to hop on out.
Have a life. Similar to Kelsey, I think COVID made me realize that there's a lot more important things in life, and life is too short to be grinding for. And this isn't really just sports, it's just like big corporations in general, but just grinding for places that just view you as another person or another seat filler and don't really care as much about the value you bring to an organization. And I also think we were a little bit brainwashed in the sense where it's like, oh, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I think that's why a lot of us wanted to go into sports, because we were like, oh, it's so fun. This is what we're passionate about, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you, I love sports, but I definitely work everything of that really hard and grinded. And I think we got burnt out really quickly. At least that's what I noticed. And I think just like in society, we're taught that. But sometimes a job is just a means to an end, and it's so you can afford to go and hang out with your friends or family or pay the bills or whatever. I don't think your job necessarily has to be something you're like so passionate about.
Yeah, I remember always hearing, "Oh, if you love what you'll do, yeah." But like my dad always told me that, and as he obviously had good intentions and he
Oh,
liked what
yeah,
he
for sure.
did. I feel like that's just kind of an older generation maybe thing. I don't know. It was really hard for me to separate me as a person and then me as someone that has a career because they're always kind of together, and it has to be when you work in sports since all of your waking hours are at work. But I've come to the conclusion that no matter what job I have, as long as I'm working for somebody else, I'm probably not going to like it. It just is what it is. That's kind of how I'm wired. I'm going to do it and I'm going to get through it, but you're not going to see me like absolutely busting my ass to help somebody else make money. So I'll do what I have to do to, live in the United States of America, but that's about where it ends.
Yeah. And I feel like that's where our friendship has like changed and grown so much too. And we've become closer because we kind of went through all of these realizations together. And I feel like we supported each other through it and like always on each other's side, but we are also, we'll call each other out if we're being dramatic.
The most dramatic people I've ever met in my entire life. Janelle tells me like every day, "You're so dramatic." I'm
Yeah.
like, it comes from Miranda. I don't know.
No, I'm very dramatic, and Derek's also dramatic. God bless me and Derek, because we're gonna have the most dramatic children ever. Can't wait to witness that.
So
We're both out of sports. I like to say never, but I think our heads are pretty much in a space where we eventually want to work for ourselves and do more of like fans of the home team, where it's about more of the fun and joy and the drama of sports. And I think we really enjoyed doing fans of the home team and then eventually developing into the podcast that it is now, because it was not a podcast when it first started out. And I think just like our careers and our friendship and life, like fans of the home team has grown so much since we started it and will continue to grow and change.
we're very flexible. We
So
change
much.
with the wind. We
And I
like to
think
adapt.
yes, and we still like initially, I think it was being surrounded by sports, and I still think the main goal is sports, but I feel like sports is just a layer to the podcast now, and that's why we like to do fun things like Christmas bracket or sitcom bracket or talk about pop culture things or something like that, because I think that people think sports is like Tom Brady threw for however many yards and all this stuff. But there's a lot of other interesting elements to sports, and it's sports and entertainment. Like, it's so interconnected with the world and this whole bigger universe that we live in.
I think a common misconception about sports podcasts is, and even this one is, if you don't know sports or watch sports, you won't like this. And I can tell you it's absolutely not true. My mother knows nothing about sports, but she's always listening to this podcast. You don't have to know a single thing. We're not talking stats. We're not doing analysis for the most part. We're just trying to find listeners who want to hear us talk and have a good time. So let's get into some quick facts so you guys can learn more about us. We got a list, so we're ready to go. I wrote my answers down. First thing is siblings, family, I guess. I have a mom and a dad. Andy, Kathy. You'll see them on Facebook. I'm commenting, I'm sure.
Commenting left and right. We love it.
They're great supporters of the pod. I love them to death. I have one sister. Her name is Kate. She's 2 years younger than me. We look the same. Our humor is the same. And then she has a whole husband named Colin. So that's my brother-in-law. And I'm engaged to Janelle.
Yes.
She's in the family too.
Yes, I also come from a mother and a father, Jeannie and Al. So that's who we're talking about when we say them. But they have no social media, but they listen to the podcast. They're always texting me about it. My dad was furious that I chose Daniel Jones for my green bean casserole, but it's fine. But yeah, no, they regularly listen, support, all that stuff. I think the only social media my dad has is TikTok.
Really?
That. I know, he's so trendy.
Very trendy.
And then I have 2 siblings. I have a younger brother, Joseph, but I don't call him Joseph. It's Joe. And he's 26, I think. 2 years younger than me. And then Jillian, but I only call her Jill, is my sister, and she just turned 22. So yeah, that's us. That's who we're talking about. And then I guess my family now is my husband, Derek. My husband just got married on October 1st, and he kind of like co-founded Fans of the Home Team with us, and he's still in the background and participates in certain things, but Kelsey and I are the main players at this point. But yeah, that is my family.
And then to round out families, we both have 2 dogs. I have Google. He's 8. He's a golden retriever Chihuahua mix. And then Kogo's a quarantine baby. So she's 4. We got her in 2020. She's a Min Pin Chihuahua mix, and she's sassy as all be and tries to ruin my life on a daily basis.
The girl dogs are
a shit show.
Like Kelsey said, I also have 2 dogs. I inherited them. I used to call them my stepchildren just to make Derek mad when we started dating, but they're fully my babies now. We have Bauer, who is also 8 years old, and he is a golden doodle, but he's like 75% poodle, 25% golden retriever or golden doodle or something. I don't know. And then we have Lily. So we both have girl and boy dogs, and she is 5, also a golden doodle, but she's more evenly balanced poodle and golden retriever. They are the absolute best dogs. I love them so much. But like Kelsey said, they literally run my life. And yeah, basically like having children.
It's very strange how we both have a boy dog that's the same age and a girl dog that's the same age.
Yeah. How that happens.
Our lives are basically the same. So,
and then I guess also, because I talk about 2 more dogs. One of them is Tug, and that was my childhood dog. He passed away, unfortunately, in May. But he was a puggle, aka a pug and a beagle. And we got him when I was in the 8th grade. So I talk about him on here a lot. And my sister has a dog named Zuko, and he is a mix, and he's a rescue dog. He's the cutest little chocolate brown baby. I call him a chocolate croissant. So those are all the dogs that I talk about.
The only other dogs in my life are my sister's dog, Chase. He's a little puppy. I forget what mix he is, but he's the cutest little thing. And then my grandma has a wiener dog named Dog. Love Dog. Let's see. We're talking about where we grew up, where we've been. So I was born in the beautiful town of Toledo, Ohio. And then my family moved when I was like 5 or 6 to a very small town called Maria Stein, which is essentially on the Indiana border in Ohio. And then when I went to college, I moved like an hour and a half south of there. I went to Miami University in Ohio, really stuck down in Ohio for a long time. And then moved to Tampa for grad school, and then moved to Michigan when I was done with that. And now I live in Columbus since like January of 2020. So I'm back in Ohio where I started. I don't know why, but this is just what happened. So here we are.
Made it back to Ohio.
Yeah, where everyone loves to be.
Full circle.
The worst.
So I was born in New York. That's where my family's originally from. Where my parents, aunts, uncles, cousins all grew up. And then I lived there until I was almost 11 because I celebrated my first birthday, 11 years old, down in Florida. So because of my mom's work, there was a bunch of different options where she would get transferred from, but they chose Tampa. So my family moved down to Tampa in 2005. I'm pretty sure halfway through the year of 5th grade is when I moved from New York to Tampa. And then I stayed here. My parents are still in the same house that they've been in since we moved to Florida in 2005. I don't think they'll ever leave, which is fine. They're like putting a ton of work into it to sell it. But I think they're going to love it afterwards and just be like, you know what? We might as well stay. So yeah. And then I went up to Tallahassee for 4 years at FSU for undergrad. And then I was ready to get back out of there. So I came back now and lived with my parents. And then eventually moved out and lived in an apartment with my friends, but still all in Tampa when I went to grad school. And then whenever I started working at MILB, because the offices once were in St. Pete, I moved over to St. Pete. So now I live like 45 minutes away from my parents and the area I grew up in. But yeah, Derek and I have been in St. Pete for 3 years now.
Time flies.
It really does.
I would love to move to St. Pete, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
someday. We'll get down someday, unless they keep pricing us out. That's the goal. Zodiac sign? I was never into this stuff until Miranda, essentially, told me about it. I never really knew anything about it. But I'm a Taurus sun, I'm a Pisces moon, and a Virgo rising. That's what I got. I'm pretty stubborn. That's what I know Tauruses are. But everything I see on Instagram seems to line up with my personality, so must be true.
Big 3. I think it's a great big 3 because I have 2 out of the 3 of them. I'm a Pisces sun and a Virgo moon and a Scorpio rising.
The same. We're essentially the same.
Derek is a Taurus, so that's why I think I get along really well with Kelsey is because of Derek. And Derek and Kelsey are Taurus bros, as they love to call each other.
There's no bond like a Taurus bro bond. Have you ever heard that?
Like 2 stubborn bold? Yeah, no other bond.
Just being dramatic and stubborn together.
I've been into zodiacs for a long time, but more like the memes and like the fun side of it. And then eventually, as I've gotten older and done more research or just like listened to actual astrologers, it makes sense because the universe and the stars and all that were in a certain place and point when you were born. And we're all made of atoms and the same cosmic energy. So it's really interesting. Like, I don't ride or die for it, like read my horoscope every day. But I think it tells a lot about your personality and how you relate with other people. And it's fun.
Yeah, it's just a good time. We're not gonna like, cry if we have a bad horoscope or something. Like, it is what it is. I mostly like the personality matching part and all that. The memes. Always here for the good memes. Sports teams. So I'm a big Cubs fan. Big Michigan, all basketball fan. Tampa Bay Lightning, Dallas Cowboys. And then my EPL team is Man City as well. So those are like my big ones that I root for.
And we went to a Man City game when we were in the UK.
That's where that comes from. Beat Southampton like 6-1. It's incredible. So I hopped on board.
My sports teams, all of them are because of my family for the most part, besides my college. But New York Mets fan, New York Giants fan, New York Rangers fan. I do root for the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. They're really the only Tampa team that I enjoy. And then my college sports team is FSU. Obviously, across the board.
Michigan's the only team I root for because of my family. Every other decision I made on my own, which is different compared to most people, but so independent, so creative, so unique. But yeah, go blue. Fuck Ohio State. We own you. Take the L. All right. Favorite athletes? Mine have to be, this is such a hot take. I don't like the NBA, but I love Grayson Allen. Back when Duke won in 2015. I guess Duke basketball is a I got that from my dad as well. But when they won 2015, they couldn't have won without him, and I kind of just like followed him to the NBA. Like I don't have a team, but wherever he goes, I'm just gonna root for him to do well. So I have a bunch of Grayson Allen shirts, and then my other guy is JJ McCarthy, quarterback of the Michigan Wolverines. Go blue! Hold the cell, Buckeyes. We own you. Suck it. I don't lose with grace. I'm a
Yeah.
sore winner.
Especially to teams like that. That's how I felt about FSU UF. I almost fought so many people on Friday.
I've been bullied like my whole life being a Michigan fan, living in Ohio by these people. So they're going to hear it from me for as long as they can hear it from me.
Favorite athletes? Really have favorite athletes. Like I have players that I enjoyed watching like growing. I don't know if I have a current favorite athlete, honestly. I'm trying to think. Not. I root for the team, so I root for all the players. Like back in the day, like FSU, Dalvin Cook, I still love him. I still follow him on the Vikings, but he was my favorite player. I used to have his jersey, but it was actually his jersey, but it was his jersey because that was the weird time where it literally had number 4 in it, but it wasn't a Dalvin Cook jersey.
I'm glad that shit's over.
Yeah, agreed.
It's dumb.
But I don't think currently Pete Alonso. I love Pete Alonso from the Mets. He grew up in Tampa, unfortunately went to UF, which is fucking disgusting. But he's on the right blue and orange team now. He figured it out. I like Saquon Barkley too from the Giants. One of my favorites of all time is David Wright and Mike Piazza from the Mets. But I used to love like Nomar Garciaparra, even like Sammy Sosa before everything happened. All of those baseball players that we grew up with, those were like my favorite athletes growing up. I also loved like Mia Hamm, Tony Hawk, like just like, I don't know, I think I looked up more to athletes as a kid than I do now.
I think that kids just gravitate towards athletes more, but I also think now we're in a time where people choose teams because of athletes instead of choosing athletes because of teams, if that makes sense.
I definitely think, and it goes into a whole conversation, which we could even do a podcast episode about, but like, if athletes are role models / should be role models, because I know a lot of athletes lean into it, but a lot of athletes are like, your child picked me to be their role model. I didn't want that necessarily. So I think that's why. And I don't know. I just feel like back in the day, there were so many more video games that were sports in the 90s and 2000s when I grew up. There was so much sports, like things that were targeted towards kids. And maybe it's because we don't have kids yet, so I don't know how it works. But I just feel like back in the day, there was so much more emphasis on the athletes and sports. Whereas now, I guess it's more like consumption through social media.
Fuck baseball. Anyway, fuck the Cubs. Figure your shit out. Favorite food? This was such a hard question for me to answer. I really don't know. I have 5 things on here. Are you ready?
Wow. Yeah, I'm ready. Chicken tenders. A roast con pollo. It's just Mexican rice, chicken, and queso on top. That's what I get from every Mexican restaurant. Chicken Alfredo, medium rare steak, mashed potatoes, and New York style pizza. Specifically,
every other pizza is not good.
Yeah, no, I agree. New York pizza is superior. This was also hard for me. I have one favorite food of all time, and it's specifically my dad's lasagna. That's what I always ask for like my birthdays or anything like that. That's my favorite food. I could eat it all the time. I have eaten it my whole life, and I'm so obsessed with it. I also like my dad's like baked ziti. My 2 favorite kinds of food are Mexican and Italian. So I would say those. I love like tacos, quesadilla, any type of Mexican food I'm in. But yeah, I think those are my favorite. I think I'm trying to think what like really eat right. I love a good sandwich, like turkey and Swiss sandwich. I feel like sandwiches are so underrated, but I could eat like a sandwich every day, and I love bagels too.
Bagels are great.
I love pizza as well. Who doesn't love pizza?
New York style pizza, specifically.
Yeah, there's definitely a good pizza and bad pizza.
Yeah, there's New York style and then there's every other style. But anyway, dessert, mine is cheesecake, which is a little unique. I know. I want cheesecake at our wedding. Janelle thinks cheesecake is vile.
What?
I know. She's insane. Insane.
I am a sweets person. I would eat dessert like before dinner.
All day.
I love sweets so much. So I honestly don't know if there's a dessert I don't like. I love just classic ice cream. I love brownies. cupcakes, icing in general. I don't know if I have a favorite dessert. I love them all.
It's really hard, but I could eat so much cheesecake. It's insane. Ice cream flavor. This is a hot take as well. Mine is mint chocolate chip, which I know a lot of people do not agree with.
My favorite I went through a phase, me and my cousin, of just getting mint chocolate chip when we were kids. So I love mint chocolate chip. I also learned that my father-in-law's favorite flavor is mint chocolate chip. So
Wow.
great taste in ice cream. It's not my favorite. It's probably top 5 for me. My favorite ice cream flavor, and I could eat this every single day, is cookies and cream.
That's a great one. I hate when people say mint chocolate chip tastes like toothpaste. I'm like, what toothpaste do you have? Like, let me have that toothpaste. What's going on?
You have chocolate pieces in your Colgate toothpaste? No, you don't.
Their taste buds just aren't developed like ours. That's the problem.
I agree. There's a place in St. Pete, Old Town Creamery. It looks like a barn. It's been there for like decades. It's like your typical, like, kind of rundown ice cream shop, but they do it right. And their cookies and cream is the best cookies and cream I've had in my entire life. It's so good. Has the perfect balance of like enough Oreos in it, but you can still taste the vanilla ice cream as a base, and it's creamy. Oh my God. I'm obsessed with it.
That's elite. Too many places skimp on the cookies part, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, like I can't roll with that. It's gotta be a good ratio, but half the time it's not.
No.
Favorite candy is, I don't think they make this anymore. I don't know, but it's Butterfinger cups, not Reese's cups.
I feel like we talked about this.
We have. Just Google them. They're so good. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I haven't had them in so long. Honorable mentions would be Reese's Sticks, Twix, Reese's Cups, anything Reese's except the Pieces.
Reese's Pieces. I'd rather have the peanut butter M&M.
Reese's Pieces taste like wax.
They're not good. My favorite candy, I like Skittles and Starburst. As Sweet as Fish, Sour Patch Watermelon, love those as well. I like all that. My favorite chocolate candy is Twix. I could eat those all day, every day. Yeah, I feel like those were my favorite growing up. I don't really have candy that much anymore.
Yeah, we try and keep it out of the house for the most part. We're moving on to people and stuff now. So, favorite actor, we've got actor and actress. My favorite actor is John Hamm. It's my guy.
I cannot stand John Hamm. I know we've talked about this multiple times, but I just don't like him.
We're not going to agree on this one.
Never.
Actress, a tie, Jennifer Aniston. And then I'm also a big fan of Hannah Waddingham. So most people will know her as Rebecca from Ted Lasso. You'll know her as the like mother witch from Hocus Pocus 2, who gave them the book in the beginning of the movie. She's also in Game of Thrones. She's the one that said like shame or whatever. So some people might know her from that, but she's incredible.
Those are good picks. I like your actresses way better than your actor.
That's fine. 1 for 2 or 2 for 3.
I would say my favorite actor used to be for a long time Jason Bateman. I still love him. I think he's hilarious. I used to watch Ozark and then I fell off, but I like seeing him in a more serious role. So I'd probably still go with Jason Bateman. And then actress, my current favorite is Florence Pugh.
I don't know who that is.
She was in Black Widow. She's the sister.
Oh, that's a good pick.
I feel like she's the next breakout star. I'm obsessed with her. Any single thing, I'm like, is that Florence Pugh? Is that Florence Pugh? So
interesting.
Yeah, she is phenomenal.
I also, Jason Bateman's a good one. Jason Sudeikis is another GOAT as well. Zac Efron, Troy Bolton. Yeah. Incredible singer as well.
Zac Efron specifically.
I'm trying to think. I don't keep up with people very well.
I would say like anyone from the Marvel movies.
They're all great. All fantastic.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with any of them. Musical artist, for me, female, Kelly Clarkson, obviously, GOAT. Best voice of all time. Sorry if you think differently. And then male, my favorite is Kenny Chesney. And also Sharpay and Zac Efron.
It's funny because I just got my Spotify Wrapped today, so I can literally tell you what my top 5 favorite artists were, at least this year. Number 1, Taylor Swift, obviously. Back on my Taylor Swift bullshit. Number 2 was Harry Styles. Number 3 was Vance Joy. Number 4 was Coldplay. And number 5 was Machine Gun Kelly. And I will say Machine Gun Kelly and Vance Joy are usually regularly in my top 5. I also love Blink-182. I literally walked down the aisle to one of their songs. So yeah, I'm more of a pop punk Gal, and then I like pop. Obviously, Taylor Swift and Harry Styles speak first. And also, you'll be so proud. Number 5 in my top genres was country, and I was like, "What
Let's
the
go.
hell?" But I'm pretty sure it's because of my bachelorette. My bachelorette was in Nashville, so I had to throw the country in there.
Top artists, okay. Kelly Clarkson, Young Gravy,
Oh my god!
Kenny Chesney, Walker Hayes, and then Elton John.
Wow. Oh, that's like a solid mix, minus Young Gravy.
I love Young Gravy, actually. He's
I
the
don't
best rapper of all
ever
time.
listen to any of his music.
Yeah, top albums, Kelly Clarkson's Christmas album, Young Gravy's new album. I got Hamilton on here. That's a top album as well.
Wow.
I love Hamilton as well. I'm so cultural. Love Broadway. Find a more cultural person than me. You can't.
I listen to a lot of music, so I feel like I like it all for the most part, and I'm always down to like listen to new music too. And then I also listen to a lot of podcasts too.
I don't listen to a lot of things. I need to look at something. Speaking of looking at things, my favorite movie of all time is Spider-Man No Way Home with 3 Spider-Mans,
My
all 3 of them
favorite.
being together. That was the greatest cinematic moment of all time.
I do think for our age, like it was a great moment, but like people who don't get it, you missed out. I literally like jumped out of my chair when Andrew Garfield entered the movie.
It's so good.
I have like specific favorite Marvel movies, but I wouldn't say they're my favorite movies of all time. My favorite movie of all time, and I watch it seriously, is Parent Trap. I'm obsessed with that movie. When I was a kid, I really thought Lindsay Lohan had a twin. I don't think I found that like out until middle school, and I was like, oh, she's not a twin. But I love Parent Trap. I'm such a millennial. I like A Cinderella Story. She's the man. Like Mean Girls, Bridesmaids, all those movies. Those are like the movies I watch over and over again. So I feel like they're my favorite movies.
I mostly watch Marvel movies, and then I'm a sucker for any Hallmark or Hallmark type Christmas love movie. I will literally watch every single one of them on Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, etc., etc.
Derek is a big movie guy. He loves movies. So we watch a lot. His dad actually asked us the other day, like, how many movies does he think we watch like in a year? And he was like, I feel 100. I was like, I don't know about that. And I enjoy movies. I think my specific category that I used to love was rom-coms, and that category is dead. And I used to love comedies too, and I haven't seen a comedy to the level of like a Bridesmaids type of thing in a long time as well.
They need to start casting people like us.
Yeah, I'll write a script for you. I feel like we have plenty of funny stories / tropes that we could play into.
Hit the DMs. Favorite superhero? Spider-Man, obviously. It's the GOAT. Been the GOAT.
Shocker.
I know. Came out of left field, for real. Yeah, no one would have guessed that.
My favorite superhero growing up was Superman and Wonder Woman, but now for a long time I loved Captain America, so that's probably it.
He's a good one. Yeah, no, I don't follow DC at all, so I don't care about those people.
I used to watch Justice League, like the cartoon, with my brother, and I loved Superman and Wonder Woman, and everyone was always like big Batman fans. And I was like, no, Superman. And now DC has just destroyed all of that. So
Yeah, they suck. I don't watch DC movies. I don't even give it a shot anymore. They're just bad. A little out of order. I don't know why I did this, but song is next. I should have put under musical artist. I would say one of my favorite song of all time is it's probably Young by Kenny Chesney. But right now, my favorite song, besides For Under the Mistletoe, obviously, if you haven't listened to the Christmas bracket song, please go listen to it, is Cole Swindell, She Had Me at Heads Carolina's my bop right now.
nice. I feel like there's songs that were life-changing, pivotal points in my life. Or songs like I Feel Like a Woman by Shania Twain. Like, come on. You can't not praise that song. So I feel like I have a lot, like so many different categories. But I would say like my favorite songs would be like the Blink-182 classics again. Like All the Small Things, First Date, Rock Show, What's My Age Again. Those, I've been listening to them for my whole life. So those are probably my favorite songs. My favorite songs currently is anything off of the Midnight's Taylor Swift album. Or mostly anything, because some of them I don't like.
I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. I haven't listened to her album at all. I just don't.
I was
What
obsessed with Taylor Swift, like, when I was young. Like, I used to listen to her all the time. She was on my iPod Touch, like, regularly. And then I think it was when I started college, for some reason, I just stopped listening to her. I don't know why. And it was when she came out with, like, 1989 and Reputation. Those 2 albums, like, I just never listened to.
As a pure country music fan, because she started out in country, obviously. There was a point in time where she was continuing to win country awards, even though she was clearly
Yep.
a pop star. And at that point in time, I wasn't about it. I was like, no, F this. She's not in the realm of like
She's
Kelsey
pop.
Ballerini or Lauren
And
Elena. Like, she's a
yeah.
pop star. That's like if Beyonce was getting country awards. Like, no, she shouldn't be winning those.
No, I completely agree.
Keep her out of
And I'm
CMAs.
not one of those, like, Swifties or people who are a little nutso for it, but I do enjoy the music and it makes me happy. So that.
She's not as good as Sharpay Evans. I'll say that. Anyway, hot takes. We're on to the TV. So, favorite TV show. Mine is Mad Men, obviously. It's a fantastic show, which I know you hate and actually haven't watched for real though.
I stopped watching because it was so bad.
It's not bad. It's not a bad show.
Do I want to subject myself to this for another 5 seasons? No, goodbye.
I'll subject myself to that every single day, but good.
My favorite show, go back and listen to the sitcom bracket episode because my favorite show is New Girl. 100%.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. We have a sitcom bracket episode and New Girl was my winner, obviously. But yeah, I think I would consider it my favorite show. I have a lot of shows that I love, but I always go back to watching New Girl.
I watch a ridiculous amount of shows, so it's difficult to pick one for sure, but pretty much any sitcom except the garbage ones I've pretty much watched at this point. So my favorite TV character is David from Schitt's Creek,
Amazing. He's the best.
which is my favorite sitcom. He is the best character. There's nobody funnier than David. I just love him.
He's a good one. I don't think I have a favorite TV character. If I had to choose, it'd probably be Nickler Schmidt from New Girl.
Definitely Schmidt from New Girl is my favorite. That's my favorite guy on the show.
I would pick either of them. I watch a good amount of TV, but like not as much. Or I put like New Girl. I've been watching Bob's Burgers, which 10/10 recommend. But
So
there's not a lot of shows like I sit down and watch. I love like miniseries. Like that's why Wednesday there was only 1 season and it was perfect. Derek and I finished it in 2 days. That's a great show. I love Yellow Jackets, the wildest show I've ever fucking watched in my life. 1 season on Showtime, so good, but there'll be more seasons. So there's a lot of shows that I love, but I don't really have a favorite TV character.
Interesting. Favorite cartoon? This I went with all time cartoon. I picked Rocket Power from childhood. That show was fantastic. It was the best show as a child that I watched. So I was always really big into like skateboarding, snowboarding, all that kind of stuff because of this show. This was just the one I watched the most. If this show was still on, I would be watching it, no doubt.
I loved Rocket Power. Honestly, the cartoons back then were elite. My favorite cartoon as a kid was Rugrats.
That's a great one. Kids now, my cousin has kids, and they're like, "Do you want to watch Bluey?" And I'm like, "What?" Like, it's a blue dog. I'm like, "Oh wow, how creative! Blue dog named Bluey. That's awesome!" Like,
Well, we did have Blue's Clues, which is a blue dog.
they ripped off Blue's Clues and made him Australian. These kids don't get to watch Roly Poly Oly or Out of the Box. Kids are deprived now.
Bluey, though, is great for kids and adults. Though.
Heard that too.
Yeah.
I'm just talking shit though.
I loved all the Nickelodeon cartoons. I loved Powerpuff Girls too. I loved a lot of the Cartoon Network ones besides Courage the Cowardly Dog. But we watched all of those.
Courage the Cowardly Dog scared the shit out of me, so I didn't watch that either. Ed, Edd n Eddy was a great one from Cartoon Network. Codename Kids Next Door was on. That was a good one too.
That was a good one. We watched literally all of them. Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Laboratory, and then Nickelodeon was like Doug, Rugrats, Rocket Power, Jimmy Neutron.
Kids will never know the trio of Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and Cartoon Network in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like, there's no better TV than those 3 channels for, like, that's 8-year period.
No. And I feel like we graduated from Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network to Disney. because then that's when Disney had That's So Raven, Lizzie McGuire, Hannah Montana, like all of those shows, even Steven, like that were so good.
That's true. Even Nickelodeon, though, had Drake and Josh, which
Yep.
was
All that,
fantastic
the
as
Amanda
well.
Show,
All that. The Amanda Show was so elite.
that was peak comedy.
I don't know how kids make it through their fucking days without these shows.
What are you watching? I don't even know if they watch TV. They probably watch like YouTube and shit.
I think the tablet kids are all on YouTube.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, check out Fans of the Home Team on YouTube.
Yeah, I think we just had like such peak cartoons. I don't know if it'll ever be the same.
It won't. It can't be matched at this point, which is so sad. On the opposite side of the coin, we have reality TV shows. I watch them all of them. And I have been since I was a child because my mom was such a TLC mom that I watched pretty much everything growing up. Little People, Big World, John and Kate plus 8, What Not to Wear.
That show needs to come back with the same two hosts.
They would just wreck people. They'd be like, your shit's ugly. I'm like, fuck yeah, you tell them their shit's ugly. Oh, good.
My family watched a lot of TLC as well, but we watched What Not to Wear, I think, the most. But yeah, my mom watched TLC regular.
We also watched Cake Boss, the food
Cake Boss,
reality
yep.
shows as well.
Yeah.
And then I grew up on Amazing Race, Big Brother, Survivor. I would say my favorite two, one is Survivor, and then two is Project Runway.
Never watched it.
Project Runway is so good.
I feel like I would like it because I like fashion and clothes. And
You would like it.
Yeah.
My toxic trait is they'll be making stuff, sewing stuff. I'm like, that's so bad. I'm so toxic. I do that about Kids Baking Championships, another one. I don't know if it's reality, but I watch that religiously. Yeah. I'll be like, I'm way better than those kids. Suck it. Go home. Like, I'm so toxic about reality TV.
I forgot what it was called, but we watched a lot of Food Network as well. And one of my favorites is Chopped still. That show is so good and stressful as fuck. But we used to watch this one, and it wasn't like a regular contest. I think it was around like the holidays, but they were at like a big hall, and one of the challenges was like you had to make like a sugar sculpture. And then you had to bring it over to the table and like they would collapse and all this shit. And I remember just watching with my family. We were like, oh my God, it's gonna make it. And then like he would almost be there and the sugar sculpture would just crumble. We watched all of those holiday baking championship.
We were big Food Network, TLC, Travel Channel family. Samantha Brown travels the world, those Anthony Bourdain, all those types of shows.
Yeah. My family also used to watch So You Think You Can Dance. I loved that show so much for the longest time in my life.
Yeah, I don't think we watched that one, but we watched American Idol. We only watched the auditions because at that point, half the people were good and half were just being wrecked by the judges. And now it's just a big focus on the people who are good. It's not funny. But back then it was funny. So we would just watch the auditions, and then once it turned to the good people, we stopped watching.
I think the last season we watched was Scotty McCreery because I remember me and my mom and sister were so locked in on him. And I remember when they announced he won, I literally was sobbing, crying because I was so happy for him.
I like Scotty McCreery. I don't think Janelle likes him, but I'm a fan.
My favorite reality TV show is The Jersey Shore. There are a lot of cringe moments and not tasteful aspects of it, which I agree now upon reflection as an adult. But that show was peak reality TV, and I don't think we will ever get back to a moment like that. We shouldn't because we've moved forward as a society, but I love that show.
People always say reality TV is fake, right? But those people legitimately went there and lived with these strangers and had no idea if it was ever going to hit TV screens. They did not get paid. Like, it wasn't this big scripted thing like you mostly see today. Like, it was actually real. And yes, there's a lot of cringe moments that did not age well, but that's kind of how life is.
I used to watch so much reality TV.
Let's see, some pop culture moments. This was very difficult for me because I'm not in the know. But some ones that I remember very clearly. 2016, the Taylor Swift is Over party on Twitter had a chokehold on me for like 24 hours because I don't even remember what happened. But it was a Taylor Swift Kanye West feud and Kim Kardashian got involved and Kim K had proved that Taylor Swift had lied about something. So all over Twitter, hashtag Taylor Swift is Over party. And I thought it was the funniest thing because I was definitely a hater back then. And then the Britney is free moment is an actually good pop culture moment.
I was gonna say the moment on the MTV, Kanye went up there at the MTV Music Awards, which is so disrespectful. And I remember that as a kid, and I was like, "What the fuck?" That
Wild.
was a moment that shook me to my core. That's where that feud started. And then what happened is that Kanye said something about Taylor in one of his songs. I forget which one. And Taylor said she never agreed for him to do that. And then Kim released the recording of the phone call where Kanye called her. Taylor said yes. But I don't know if they specifically said the line, the lyric or whatever. But anyway,
it was funny. This is not my forte for sure. This is more your forte. I don't know a lot about it. I try, but it's mostly you teaching me stuff.
Yeah, I honestly could do a whole episode on this, but I think my favorite is the note on the Jersey Shore.
That was the ultimate first red flag toxic relationship we've seen play out on TV to a T. The most toxic thing. And then we saw Ronnie's other one when they did the family vacation, like the first season too.
I think in the end, she came out on top because he has some serious issues.
He seems to be a common denominator in multiple toxic relationships. So
exactly. But yeah, that one is just like top tier for me.
Ultimate peak reality pop culture moment.
Yeah.
Switching gears, favorite drink. I don't drink a lot of things, so I put water. I mostly drink water if it's a non-alcoholic thing. But alcohol, beer, McUltra. For the brand, please sponsor me, us, podcast. Anyway. And then liquor, whiskey sour is my go-to if things are getting a little bit rowdier.
My favorite drink, I do mostly drink water like day to day. We don't have like any other drinks in the fridge. Also, regularly, I love coffee too. Ice shaken espresso is my go-to. Starbucks beverage, ice shaken espresso. But any other drinks, I would say like if I go out to eat or something, I love sweet tea, and I love Coke and Dr. Pepper. One of my favorite like drinks. And then alcoholic drinks. If it's like a craft brewery place, I would go for like a blonde. That's my favorite type of beer. And then liquor, I like espresso martini or like a dirty martini. But really for liquor, I only drink vodka. Everything else is disgusting. I like a good cocktail that's fruity. But yeah, if it's too sugary, like my stomach is not okay. And the reason and I've told Derek this multiple times, is because there's too much liquid inside of me. Like if I'm drinking a lot and there's like it's just too much liquid and I need to get it out.
Interesting. Favorite color? Mine is yellow. What is your favorite color?
Yellow.
Let's go. I love yellow.
Your favorite color is yellow?
Oh yeah. Not to like wear because it doesn't work, but just in general, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, we're so cute. Our logo is yellow. That's why. Yeah, my favorite color has been yellow like pretty much my whole life.
Me too. It's my mom's favorite color too. So.
Oh my God, I love that. Yeah, I definitely was a period where I like turquoise and orange, but like yellow, always there.
Yellow just hits different. This yellow is my favorite, like the Michigan yellow.
This yellow?
The maize, that's that deep yellow.
Yeah, I think like classic yellow. But like you said, I don't think I own one piece of yellow clothing.
No.
Because my skin is like olive. Yellow's not going to work on my skin tone.
Yellow does not work with all this. But I would love for it to, but it just doesn't. We sacrifice where we have to. My favorite animal is a dinosaur. It always has been.
What kind?
That's tough. I like pterodactyls, T-Rexes, raptors.
Oh, pterodactyls are scary.
I hope they come back.
They're like birds.
No, they're not.
I forget what it's called, but my favorite dinosaur is the one that's like on all fours and has all the spikes and then the spiky tail.
Oh, Stegosaurus?
I think so, yeah. That's my favorite type of dinosaur since I was a kid.
I had a face as a child. Dinosaur face.
My favorite animal, and pretty much has been my whole life as well, is an elephant. There's a bajillion of
Really?
them in my house. Yeah.
Interesting.
Obviously, I used to want a pet elephant too, but I love elephants because they're actually really knowledgeable and they can feel feelings and emotions. And they're also a symbol of like luck, good fortune too.
Wow. That's deep. I just think dinosaurs are cool.
Yeah. And I just love the baby elephants. They're the cutest things. But my favorite animal is an elephant, and Jill's favorite animal was a giraffe.
That's so cute. So sisterly.
This third.
I wish I could see my animal at the zoo. Favorite fast food? Mine is Panda Express. Obviously, I love it. I just count down the days to the next time I can eat it.
My favorite fast food is Taco Bell.
That's a great choice. That's the top 3. I feel like since this recession we're in, I feel like fast food has went downhill, and the only few places that have maintained like quality of their fast food are Panda, Taco Bell, and McDonald's. I think everybody else has gone down the shitter. Wendy's is the biggest culprit of being garbo in the past 2 years. We stopped
Really?
going entirely. Yes.
Wendy's has the best chicken nuggets and barbecue sauce.
The last time we went was probably over a year ago. They changed their fries entirely. They're garbage. Their chicken nuggets started being not as good. I don't know. We just stopped. We would get 4 for 4s all the time. And then we were like, this is dog food. So we stopped going.
Speaking of dog food, I remember when I was a kid and I found out that Taco Bell's ground beef is the same grade, like quality as dog food. And I was like, oh my God.
Still eat it.
Same. And again, we don't really eat fast food that often. It's usually like if it's super late and we haven't eaten,
Yeah.
or we're on a road trip, or we're drunk, and I would choose Taco Bell. I just love everything on that menu. Again, my favorite type of food is Mexican and Italian. There's no Italian fast food places, unfortunately. So you got Taco Bell. And then McDonald's is just a classic. I like regularly crave McDonald's French fries.
They're the best. Well,
When they're hot.
the best. Yeah. Yeah, when they're fresh. I'm a big Arby's French fry fan.
I hate Arby's, but yeah.
We're not getting into this right now. That infuriates me. Favorite book? I don't read a ton anymore. I try to. It doesn't really work that well. But my favorite book growing up was the Harry Potter series. Obviously, that's a classic. Can't go wrong there.
I definitely try to read pretty regularly. I would say like my favorite books now is by Colleen Hoover. I'm definitely in my Colleen Hoover phase. I'm reading It Starts With Us now. But I love the Twilight. I read those so quickly. I couldn't put them down. I still have the whole book set. And I read the Hunger Games series and the Divergent series as well. I never read Harry Potter though. And Derek's always like, you need to read them like as adults. But I don't know, I just never read them for some reason. I also loved The Great Gatsby. Hate the movie, but I loved that book. I love The Outsiders, and I loved To Kill a Mockingbird. Those are like my favorite school books. But yeah.
I was a pretty big reader until high school started, and then I don't know. I think high school, the books I had to read made me not like reading, so I kind of stopped. And
I think that's the
I
case
go in
for a lot of
spurts.
people.
Yeah, because the books suck, dude. Like stuff like Animal Farm in 1984. I'm like,
Hated.
One
I read
Piece.
Animal Farm in 8th grade, and I hated
it
that
was
book.
gross.
I was stupid. I was like, these talking animals. I understand like there's socialism like behind messages and whatever. And I was like, this book is so boring. I can't get past that there is a pig dictator, okay?
I had a really hard time in terms of like reading books and stuff in high school. Like I would just spark note it at any chance I could.
I used to love reading Junie B. Jones,
Yes.
all of the Amelia Bedelia, all those kids' books, The Treehouse, all that stuff when I was a kid. And then when you go to high school and it's like forced on you, it doesn't make it fun anymore. And I'm like, oh, I have to read this boring book. Like I can't read the books I actually enjoy. And I feel like that's the case for most like adults. And then eventually, like I feel like I just started like reading again for fun, like in the past 3 or 4 years. But it's just it's so backwards how like in high like, oh, you need to read and blah, 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 blah. But then you're actually discouraging people from reading because you're picking these boring ass books.
We went to the library all the time when we were kids and just got
Same.
a ton of books. And then I got over it, I guess. But I try and get back into it. It's just hard now with like life
Yeah.
and all
And
the
I
shows
think
I watch. So
I was gonna say an influx of content, so it's hard to
yeah.
like go sit down and read a book.
Speaking of other things to consume, favorite podcasts. I don't listen to a ton of podcasts. This one is the best one on the market. Don't listen to anyone else besides for us. Other ones I listen to occasionally when I do are I like Millennial Made with Rod. That's a good one. And then The Basement Yard, obviously, is
Love the
so
basement.
fire. So fire. Those are the main two I listen to. Trading Secrets with Jason Tartrick is a good one too.
Yes.
Dear Media
I was
Podcast.
gonna say any Dear Media podcast. Yeah.
Dear Media is great.
I listen to a lot of podcasts because, like I said, I just always need to have like some sort of sound on. I don't really like the silence. And whenever I put the TV on, then I get distracted. So, besides Fans of the Home Team, obviously, my number one podcast that I've literally listened to since it was a podcast, obviously, it's rebranded a few times, but it's The Toast, and they're under Dear Media now, which I was so psyched about. But it's two sisters, and they do like 5 stories about what's going on in the world, mostly like pop culture, Real Housewives, all that stuff. But I've been listening to them forever. It's a daily podcast show. So again, I listen to it every single day. I'm also a Patreon member. They're the only ones I'm a Patreon member for. So I listen to like their extra episodes as well. And I literally like my Spotify Unwrapped. I got my top 5. And number 1 was The Toast. Number 2 was Chicks in the Office, which I also love too. And they have a lot of fun interviews. They also do pop culture trivia, which just amazing. Those are my favorite episodes. Another Barstool pod that I just started listening to this year is Out and About with Pat from Barstool and then Joey Camasta. That one is so funny. It cracks me up.
You're a real podcast girly.
I love podcasts. And I've listened to a bunch. Like you said, like The Basement Yard, love them. There's so many. A lot of the Dear Media ones I really love. I used to listen to The Skinny Confidential like regularly as well. But I'll just see a podcast and see the guests they have on it too and dive into it.
Yes. It's a good point too. But ours is definitely the best, so keep
Yeah.
listening.
And
Tell
if
your
you're
friends,
looking
tell
for
your
new
enemies.
podcasts, listen to ours.
Video games? I like video games a lot. My favorites
Gamer
are
girl.
I'm a gamer girl. So gamery. So unique. Grand Theft Auto is the best game series of all time.
I literally just re-downloaded Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on Derek's PS5 because I was like, I want to play this game.
Oh, good. The whole series is
Amazing.
unbelievable. Grand Theft Auto 6, when that trailer drops, will absolutely break the internet. That game could sell for $500. Like, I'm buying it. It does not matter. That game will be unreal when it comes out. Honorable mentions, NCAA football series, obviously, and Animal Crossing. Big fan of all the Animal Crossing games. I've played them all, which I know you don't like, but I love them.
You didn't include the number 1 game that we talk about all the fucking time?
Wait, what?
The Sims.
Oh, yeah. My bad. That's true.
Oh my god.
I haven't played The Sims in so long. I haven't been in a depressive episode for a long time. So
this is true. I would say my favorite video game is The Sims. I think it's also because Sims 4 sucks ass.
it's so bad. I can't run
gotta-
Sims 3 on my computer. It's lags, so I don't play The Sims a lot. When Sims 5 comes out, I'll be back on my bullshit though.
Oh my god, I can't wait. Sorry, a whole year of my life dedicated to The Sims 5. Don't expect anything productive from me for at least a month.
If I'm in a bad spot, you'll catch me playing The Sims 4. That's when you know you're in a bad spot in life. But I've been good for a while.
I'm proud of you. I used to play a lot of video games growing up. Again, I feel like we were in the age of like the video game.
Yes,
But
we
I used
were.
to play all of the Crash games with my brother and my sister and cousin. I love those. We used to play Spyro, Sly Cooper, the Jacket, like every single thing. But I would agree. I like Grand Theft Auto as well. I remember like we weren't allowed to buy that game. And I think my brother like borrowed
Yep.
it from one of his friends. And my mom was like, "What is this?" And we're like, "Oh, it's not." So that's when the addiction started to happen. I used to love PC games. Those were my favorite, like bread and butter.
Yes.
Like Big Fish games. Oh my God. I would play those for
Ooh,
hours on the computer and always just only download the free trial and you can only play for a couple hours. But those games were so fun. I used to go on Barbie.com, Polly Pocket, Lifesavers. They had a lot of games. They had like mini golf lifesavers. It's so fun.
addictinggames.com. I went on a lot at school mostly, but any of the backyard sports games,
Oh
PC
yeah.
games, was playing those for the most part.
Roller
Yeah,
Coaster Tycoon.
so good. I have a Mac and I'm a PC, so I can't play a lot of those games, which sucks. But I'm not gonna buy a PC to do it.
I literally have Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 downloaded on my computer right now. The little icon, the panda is staring at me. My home screen.
The OG one is the
Oh,
best.
100%.
I would play that for hours. It's probably a good thing I can't have it. I wouldn't get anything done at all. Let's see. Favorite vacation that we've ever taken. I've been to Europe twice. So I went to Greece and Italy in 2012. Our art teacher always took 3 grades of kids that wanted to go at that time. So juniors, seniors, and people that just graduated. So I was going into my senior year of high school. We went to Greece and Italy for ours. So a bunch of the teachers would chaperone. So we went there for 10 days. So that was a ton of fun. And then obviously our UK trip was a ton of fun as well. And then any cruise I go on is going to be a good vacation. Janelle and I love to cruise like we're 70-year-olds. So that's basically what we plan for vacation.
I feel like I haven't gone on a vacation that I didn't enjoy. Honestly.
True.
My family went on, I wouldn't say vacations regularly, but probably like once a year. When we lived in New York, we went to Disney a lot, which I loved. We went a couple years in a row to Captiva and Sanibel Island, which was beautiful.
Ooh.
Honestly, all the family vacations we went on, I really loved. But I would say my favorite trip was when I went to Italy after our UK Manchester trip, because we were there for 10 days, maybe less, I forget. But we went to all the big places: Rome, Cinque Terre, Florence, which is my favorite place in the entire world, Milan, and Venice. So that was the trip of a lifetime. I told Derek that I want to go back to Italy. I made him pinky promise me that we'll go back to Italy before I'm 35.
Pinky promise. Wow.
Yeah, because I really wanted Italy for our honeymoon, but he was like, I just think it'll be too much, and I want to go somewhere where neither of us have been. And I was like, okay, fair. So I made him pinky promise me that we'll go back by the time I'm 35. I feel really fortunate about all the vacations and places I've gotten to go to. Even a lot of cities within the U.S. too.
Yes, I obviously didn't really mention anywhere in the U.S., but definitely fortunate to have been able to travel as a child, and still now that's pretty much what we spend our money on for the most part, is exploring new places.
Usually for like Christmas or my birthday, I'll always ask Derek for a trip, because I would rather spend money on more travel and experiential things than material things necessarily. I definitely enjoy traveling more. I think when we start having kids and stuff, it'll change a little bit, but I definitely want to expose my kids to travel too. I think that was something my parents were really good at growing up, was trying to take us different places.
Yeah, my parents they try to take us to places like that, like every few years. Like we did Chicago, we did Boston, New York, Key West, Disney, Universal. So they've taken us a lot of places as well, which is awesome. Shout out to you guys. I know I didn't name it as favorite vacations, but all vacations were good.
Yeah. So where do we want to go?
Oh, me? My favorite place that I would love to go is Ireland. Because I'm Irish. I want to see where my people come from. I think it'd be a ton of fun. So that's like when we go to Europe, I think that's probably where we'll go, is Ireland and Scotland. I would love to go over there in probably like 2025, 26, but that's probably like our next big trip other than a honeymoon, obviously. But I don't think we would do that over there because it'll be winter, so that would suck. So we'll probably go there some summer. We'll see. But yeah, that's my big one.
My big 3 that were on my bucket list for most of my life was Italy, Ireland, and Australia. And I would still love to go to Australia. I just don't know if I can be on a plane for that long. I think I would go crazy. And then I really want to go to Ireland, though. I think it's beautiful. And I would go back to Italy tomorrow. So,
same.
Those are my top 2. I am excited because Derek and I are going on our honeymoon to St. Lucia. And I've always wanted to do like a tropical island vacation and see like resort. So I'm super excited for that and to like check that off the bucket list. I also think like inside of the US, there's a lot of places I would want to go to. Most of them are on like the West Coast, like Oregon, Washington, Seattle specifically. I would love to go over there. And even though I've been to New York a million times, I want to go to New York during Christmas. And then I want to go to Vermont during the fall. So I feel like those are like the big places I want to go within the US.
We have an Alaskan cruise that leaves out of Seattle, which has always been a bucket list of mine, is to do an Alaskan cruise.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for that. I would love to do like, I don't know, Wyoming, Montana, like that kind of vibe
Yes. Yeah.
as well.
Hawaii too. I would go to Hawaii.
Hawaii. Obviously, Hawaii is a big one. That's a bucket list one. I would like to go to every state. Maybe not Alabama and Mississippi. No offense, but no thanks. But most of the states I would love to go to.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot to see within the US too, which I feel like we forget about, but Europe is just so much fun.
Facts. Did you learn anything great about me today?
Yeah, I learned your favorite color is yellow. I didn't know that.
That's
Now
the
you
best
wanna
one.
go to Ireland like me. So
Oh my God. I learned we're the same. So
what else is new? But no, I think this is a good episode, just a little getting to know us. I'm sure we'll do more of these, maybe some more in-depth questions too. But I think it was time that this episode came out just so people kind of get to know us, our favorite things, our families, what we do, like our life and our personalities.
yes, you could learn more about the people you listen to every single week. So thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Next week, we'll be taking a little break for Christmas, but we will be back on December 28th with our best and worst sports moments of 2022.
Yes, this was a favorite last year, so it'll be a good episode as always. I need to start thinking of them because I don't know if it's going to be as easy as it was last year. As always, check out our link tree in the description of this episode. This is where you can find all of the information on Fans of the Home Team, our social media accounts, TikTok, YouTube, all of that good stuff. And also, this is where you can fill out our little questionnaire if you want to sign up to share your fandom story with us.
And so you don't miss any of the upcoming podcasts, subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening on: Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Amazon, and more.
Thank you again, and I hope everyone has a happy holidays and enjoys some time with their loved one. Bye!
Peace.